Hello, my name is Eric Torres, and today I'll be presenting a study on the effects of psilocybin on depression. So first of all, what is psilocybin? So psilocybin is a psychoactive ingredient in magic mushrooms, as you can see on the image on the right. It usually takes around 10 to 15 milligrams for hallucinogenic effects, and the onset is around 45 minutes when ingested orally, and lasts around 3 to 6 hours. Some of the effects include an altered state of consciousness, dreamlike state, illusions, hallucinations, synesthesia, a loss of time, paresthesia in the form of tingling, dreaminess or somatic hallucination, magical thinking, or any unusual ideas or delusions. In a recent study published in the Journal of Humanistic Psychology in 2017, researchers Rosalind Watts, Camilla Day, Jacob Kranzowski, David Nutt, and Robin Carhart Harris wanted to identify patients' perception of the value of psilocybin as a treatment for depression. In their study, they had 20 participants with treatment-resistant depression. In order to be classified as treatment-resistant, they have to have a 17 or higher on the Hamilton Depression Scale and have to have previously tried two different antidepressant medications with no effects. Now, the demographic of the 20 participants is that they were 6 women and 13 men, and they were out of the 20, they were 15 are white, 3 are black, 1 is Asian, and 1 is Hispanic, and they range between the ages of 30 and 64 years old. Now, participants in the study were involved in 6 appointments. The first one was a screening, the second one was preparation, and the third one they were given the first dose, which was a low dose of 10 milligrams. In the fourth appointment, they were given a higher dose of 25 milligrams. And the last 2 appointments, those were follow-ups. The first follow-up was 1 day after the high dose, and the second one was 1 week after the high dose. Now, during both the low dose and the high dose appointments, there were 2 trained psychologists present in order to observe their behaviors and to make sure that they were safe. Now, participants were interviewed 6 months after the first dosage, and of the 20 original participants, 19 gave a consent to interview. Now, thematic analysis was used to identify patients' experiences of the treatment of the interview and to see if there were any overlying themes within all the patients. Now, the results show that 6 months after the first dose, there were 2 major themes noticed. The first theme according to the study, 6 months after the first dose, there was 2 major themes noticed. The first one was a disconnection to connection. Now, according to the researchers in the study, participants described that prior to taking the first dose, that they were disconnected from themselves and from others, and also disconnected from their senses and from the world. Now, after both 6 months after receiving both dosages, they felt like their brain was rebooted and had been switched on. And they also described that there was new connections that were made in their brain. A second major theme that was noticed was an avoidance of emotion, and that turned into an acceptance. Now, according to researchers in the study, a participant described prior to their psychedelic experience that they felt numb and they felt like they were avoiding any painful emotions and traumatic childhood memories. 6 months after the initial dosage, participants described that they were able to surrender to emotions and accept them, which led to them being able to begin the journey to move on from that feeling of avoidance. Now, a third theme that was noticed but wasn't considered major was the psychedelic therapy compared to traditional therapy. Many participants described that traditional therapy wasn't working out for them because they kept feeling neglected or dismissed, or additionally, they were feeling that traditional therapy wasn't reaching the source of their depression, while psychedelic therapy was able to reach the source, and they felt like it made a significant impact to their lives. Now, the researchers did notice that there was a decrease in their depressive symptoms during the interviews, and they also found that there was no trace of any addiction post dosages. Now, participants' experiences were reflected in neuroimaging in a different study conducted, and it was compared. The brain during the psychedelic experience was compared was compared to metal when it is hot. So when metal is heated, it is able to be reshaped. This can be compared to the brain when it was on psychedelics. Many areas of the brain are activated at the same time, and connections were able to be reshaped and created, just like how metal was able to be malleable when it is heated. Here are my the 3 sources that I used. Thank you for listening, and have a good day.